are you doing? Um, we have so many schools are going to be watching this, but right now we have only the minutes where asking the questions. We are
Okay.
so grateful that you joined us this morning.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity. Yeah, thank you.
And I'd like to say hello to our 100 plus schools across Canada, the US, France, China. And it's such a pleasure to continue our series about a promised land. This is our series of interviews on the United States of America. And we are all hoping for the best for you guys. And we're
Thank you.
excited. We love to get to know you and to continue to grow our friendship with Canada and the United States. My name is Marc-André Tremblay. I'm a founder of Young Global Citizens. I'm a teacher at Blessed Sacrament School in Vancouver. I want to introduce our speaker for today, the power of small things, inspirational keynote speaker, a TED star, you're a star, monsieur, an innovative creator of the shoe that grows. You've been featured on a lot of networks and a lot of uh, Oprah magazine, Smithsonian magazine, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful thing you're doing. And we want young people everywhere to get involved and to learn about this wonderful project. And your message is that we can all live with practical compassion. And compassion and empathy is also very important for us. Alors, I will invite, oh, we got a couple people joining us. Nice, welcome. Alors, Sébastien is my student in grade 5, and he will begin with the 2 questions, and this will be followed by 7 questions by École Percy Pegler and Autotox Alberta, and I'll be doing the closing. Alors, thank you. Welcome again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Lee, welcome to this interview. My name is Sebastian Reno. How are you feeling today?
Sebastian, you speak very well. It's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you for your question. I am feeling great today. I've had a wonderful morning, and I'm so excited to speak to you and these schools and these children. And thank you so much for having me.
Great. What do you have on your schedule these days, and how do you deal with the pandemic?
Sebastian, I will answer very honestly. Mostly what I do now is try to raise money. So I do all of our fundraising, and I do that in 2 different ways. The first way, what I spend most of my time and what I use most of my schedule to do is to meet with individual people who can support us with a lot of money. That's kind of my job, is to talk to people who have money and tell them our story. And if they are inspired to help us, then I provide ways for them to make a difference through their donations. The other thing I do, I don't quite do it as much, but it is something we do, is we write grants for to foundations. So foundations could be through a company or it could be through a family. But foundations usually have some rules about what they fund and what they like to do with their money. And so I often have homework. I'm writing grants for funding as well. And with the pandemic, I used to do a lot of these meetings in person. Sometimes I would even travel and fly to go see people and meet with them. And now I have been home. I don't think I've been on an airplane for about a year. I have been home throughout most of the pandemic. I live in a small town called Nampa in a very little known state called Idaho. And so my family and I have just been here for about a year, really. And I do all my meetings over Zoom or on the phone. So it's been a big change, although people are very willing to still communicate on the phone or on Zoom. So it's still been I've still been able to get together with people and tell them about the work that we're doing.
That's great.
Thank
So,
you,
Mr. Lee,
Sebastian.
many
Thank
of our questions today will be about your invention of the shoe that grows. But before we talk about this topic, can you please tell us more about your home of Idaho for some students who may not know much about it?
Yes, I love talking about Idaho. I was born here. I have lived here my whole life. Idaho is a state in the West. We are a big state in terms of land, but we are a small state in terms of people. We do not have very many people, and not very many people know about Idaho. So I grew up in a small town, and I love my small town. I will be here forever. And I have a wife and I have two kids, and so we just love living in our small town. We love being in a place where nobody really knows, who we are or what Idaho is. We're not New York City. We're not California, but it's beautiful. I love to fish and I love the outdoors, and so it is just a beautiful state with really nice, hardworking people. So it's my favorite place in the whole world.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sebastian.
And our Alberta school will continue with some questions.
Hello, Mr. Lee. What company ships your shoes to the people that need them?
That's a great question. We do our shipping in a couple of ways. Um, we have our inventory. That means the shoes that we have made and then where we store them. We have our inventory in two places. We keep some of our inventory here in Idaho, in the US. We also keep inventory in Kenya, which is a country in Africa. We make all of our shoes in Kenya. So some of our shoes stay there, and then some of the shoes are sent over here to the US. So from our inventory, when we receive an order for our shoes, if the order comes in to the US, to Idaho, we use a company called UPS to send our shoes here in the US. And so what it might look like is uh, let's say a church in California. They buy 100 pairs of our shoes. So we will use UPS to send our shoes from Idaho to California. And then usually the groups we work with, like this church in California, usually they take the shoes with them on a flight to go somewhere international, and then they hand deliver the shoes to kids that they work with. So that's usually how our shoes get around. Except in Kenya. In Kenya, it's a lot different. They don't have UPS in Kenya. So in Kenya, we have a small team of people that are on our team, and they deliver the shoes in their own cars and trucks. They deliver the shoes all around Kenya. And then something that I think is really interesting, and it's a little different than what we do in the US and maybe even in Canada, but one other thing they do in Kenya, if the shoes need to go to a different country like Uganda, which is right next to Kenya, or Ethiopia, which is right above Kenya, they will actually just put the shoes on a bus. They'll put the shoes on a bus and they'll let somebody know, hey, you need to get these shoes off the bus when the bus gets to your town. It's very different from what we do in the US, but it still works and the shoes still get to where they need to go. But that's a great question. I've never had anybody ask me that question. That's a great question.
Thank you.
Hello,
Hello.
my name is Rylan, and I will ask you, how do your shoes expand?
That's a great question. Is it okay? Can I show something? I
Yeah.
have a shoe here. Okay, wonderful. So our shoes can expand in a few different places. The first one is here in the middle of the shoe. We have this, it looks like a number 5 is what it kind of looks like. But it has an opening here, and then we have these holes, these kind of loops. So the kids who wear our shoes, they can put this into any of these holes. And if they want to put it up higher, that makes the shoe smaller. If they want to put it farther, that makes the shoe bigger. So that's the first place that they can expand the shoe, is the length of the shoe. And then on the sides, there are Velcro straps. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 on the side. We have one Velcro strap that goes over the top of the shoe. And then my favorite part of the shoe, and another way that it expands, is in the back. And the reason this is my favorite part of the shoe, so this is kind of like a shoe and a sandal. It's not really a shoe, but it's a lot more than just a sandal. And so some kids around the world, they love to wear this as a shoe. They like to keep it tight so they can run around and play soccer, and they can just do everything they could do with a shoe. But other kids around the world, they told us that they wanted to wear it more like a sandal. And so what we did, we made this part on the back with Velcro, but we made it so that it can come off. So if kids want to, they can take this back part off, and they can just wear it like a sandal that you kind of slip on and slip off. But for kids who want to really run around and play soccer and do all that stuff, they can wear this back piece, and it will really tighten up the shoe, and it'll make it really strong. So that's how it expands. But there's a secret to how it actually grows. So in the US, we have something called a patent. And a patent means that you have an idea that nobody else has, and that you can go to the government and you can register that idea so that nobody else can take it. Now, we don't really care about people taking our idea, but we had some friends help us write a patent. So we actually have 2 patents on our shoes. No one had ever done this before, and it's a really simple thing. If you can see on the shoe, there are these lines, or what I call ridges. There are these ridges on the side, on the back, on that side, and on the front. And so the kids they can adjust the top, but the sides of the shoe and the front and the back, that's really how it grows. And basically, as a child's foot grows, the sides of the shoes, those ridges, allow it to just unfold. So the shoes that you're wearing, they probably don't have any ridges, and they probably are meant to stay firm. So when your foot grows, it kind of pushes against that because it's not supposed to move. Our shoes are just designed to move, to unfold. And so that's really how they grow. That's where we get those 5 sizes of growth. So the kids can adjust the top, and then the bottom of the shoe just grows as their foot grows. And that's how our shoes expand. Yeah, great question.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm
Hello.
Chloe.
Hi, Chloe.
Hi. My question is, how many prototypes did you have to make before you decided on this shoe?
Oh, Chloe, great question. Let me tell you, did you know, from when I had the idea to when we finally had the first batch of 3,000 pairs. That was our first batch. It took me 6 years to work on this. And one of the most important parts was those prototypes, those ideas for what this could look like. And so I tried to do it by myself once at my house. And I don't know, I didn't know. I know a few things now, but at the time, I did not know anything about shoes. So I made a couple of really bad prototypes. But then I finally found a little company that could help us. And you know, they started with 100 ideas for what this could look like. And we got all of those 100 ideas, we made it down to 2. There were 2 very different ideas, very different prototypes for what the design could be. And so once we chose one of them, then we made about 10 more of that design. And then we finally made it down to our final prototype. And they actually made 100 of those pairs, 100 prototype pairs. And I took them back to Kenya and had kids in 4 different schools try them on and try them out for about a year. And we got some really good feedback, and that helped us make our first batch of 3,000 pairs. But we started with probably about 100 different ideas for what a growing shoe could look like. And I'm really excited we made it to where we are today. But it took a while. It didn't happen overnight. It took a long time, but it was really a fun process. Yeah, great question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Mason. Do you have a plan on selling the shoes commercially?
Mason, great question. You know what? Here's what happened with that. So I never had a plan to sell the shoes commercially. I really didn't want to. I wanted to try to get the shoes to kids around the world who needed them. I did not want to sell the shoes to moms and dads for their own, commercially for their kids. I just wasn't interested in that. But when we kind of accidentally went viral, we had a lot of stories come out on our shoes. And so lots of people reached out to us, and some people asked me that. They asked me, can I buy these shoes commercially for my own kids? And I said no. For a couple of years, I said no, that's just not what we do. But then I told Sebastian earlier that I do fundraising. I try to raise money for our shoes, for our organization. It's harder to raise money than I thought. And so we had so many people asking if they could buy our shoes. Plus, we needed more money. So we finally decided about 2 years ago that we will make our shoes available commercially if anybody wants to buy them. So we actually started a separate company, and we named it a different name. So it's called Grow 5. We spelled grow the wrong way. So it's just GRO. So GROFIVE, Grow 5. And we sell the exact same shoes that we hand out to kids around the world. We sell those shoes commercially. And then some of the money comes back to our nonprofit organization. So we sell about 100 pairs a month on our Grow 5 website and also on Amazon. They're on Amazon.com. So we don't do it a lot yet, but yes, it was not something I wanted to do until I realized that we could use the money to do the work that we're doing, to help us do the work that we're doing with our nonprofit. So if anyone wants a commercial pair of our shoes, we have them go to our Grow 5 website, and that's how we allow them to buy our shoes commercially. Yeah, great question. Thank you, Mason.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Sebastian. My question is, what is your opinion on the current state of the USA, of the United States?
Sebastian, thank you. That's a great question. You know what? I've lived here my whole life. Um, I love my town. I love my states, and I do love my country. There have been lots of things in the news in really the last few years, but especially the last few months. There are lots of people who have different ideas about what our country should be and where it should go. And you know what? I feel very removed from a lot of those people and a lot of those conversations. Sometimes I don't even watch the news because it just makes me a little sad for our country. We're kind of going through a hard time. But what I really get excited about though is my town and my community, which I really think is a good representation of what I really think my country really is and really could be again. My town, we have people in my town who do not agree with each other, but we all get together and we all talk about it. We really do. We have these great little town hall meetings. Everybody knows each other. You know, we have a wonderful mayor who's in charge of our town, and she listens to everybody. We again, we don't always agree, but we do always agree on a few things, that we care about our kids, we care about people who are poor, we care about our environment, and we want the nature of our town to be protected. And so it's interesting when I look at my town, I remember all the things I love about living here. When I watch the news or if I go on Facebook, um, I really struggle because it makes me kind of sad about all the fighting and everything going on. So it's and I know my state is smaller with people. We really are not. Nobody really cares about Idaho. That's we're never in the news. No one really cares. We're just a small place, and so it's almost like there are two different pictures of the USA. And one of those pictures I really makes me sad. And the other one I really love. And I have two kids, and my kids are 5 and 6. And as they grow up, I talk positively about our country. I am optimistic about our country. And I really tell them the good things that I believe about the USA. And so truth, honestly, I'm excited about our next president. I think he's going to do a good job. And I'm excited about my town. And I hope that I can be a part of good things happening in my town. So that's probably not a great answer, but that's probably my honest answer. But thank you so much, Sebastian. That's a great question.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Josh. My question is, do you give shoes to kids who need them around America too?
Josh, that's a great question. And the answer is yes. Now, I will say we don't do it very often. So, as you can see with our shoes, it is kind of a sandal kind of a shoe. And I live in Idaho, which I think is similar to where you live. We get snow, like it gets cold in the winter, right? And so this is not a great winter shoe where it gets cold. We didn't design it to be a winter shoe. It makes the most sense to wear our shoes in places like Africa and Central America and parts of Asia that are warm for the most part all throughout the year. So in the US, there are a lot of places that are just too cold, that our shoes just don't make the most sense. But there are also some warm places, and there unfortunately are also kids who are in poverty and don't have access to shoes as their feet grow. There are kids who need our shoes here in the US. So probably 99% of our shoes go outside the US. But whenever anyone in the US reaches out to us, we do work with them to get shoes to their kids. We've had shoes go to Arizona, We've had shoes go to some parts in the southern part of the U.S., in Alabama and Mississippi, some of the warmer places where kids need them. And I should say, so even though this is not designed for the winter, I wear the shoes in the winter. I wear these shoes every single day. And I've worn the shoes every single day, even in the winter, even in the snow. I've worn them every day for 5 years because I wanted to see how long they could last. And so I wear them in the snow, but we don't expect anybody else to. So, yeah, Josh, right? Josh, that was a great question. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, my name's Ann. When you gave the kids the shoes, what feelings were you experiencing?
That is a wonderful question. You know what? We have distributed over 300,000 pairs of our shoes to kids in over 100 countries in the last 5 years. Personally, I have delivered shoes 4 times. So I really haven't delivered that many. But each time that I've done it has been meaningful and has been memorable for me. I've done it once in Haiti, once in Nicaragua, and then a couple of times in Kenya. And one of the stories that I love to share the most actually does not have to do with a kid. It's interesting. Whenever I connect with the kids, I mean, they're always smiling. They're so thankful, and I always feel so happy, right? Like, of course. But one time when I was distributing our shoes, a mom came up to me, and she did not hear the little speech that I gave about how the shoes work. And so she asked me if I could explain how the shoes grow. And so I was showing her how they grow and how long they can last and those things. And at the end of my little explanation, she just started to cry, and she kept saying, "These shoes are so important. These are so important." And for me, her reaction was exactly why I wanted to make these shoes. It was exactly why I took 6 years to make these shoes, because she was a mom in Kenya, and she has children who have that problem, who don't have shoes, or they have shoes that they outgrow, and she doesn't have enough money to buy them more shoes. Like, she understood the problem, and as I explained to her my solution, it made total sense. And she said over and over again how important these were. And that has always stuck out to me. That's always the one reaction that always has been in my mind. And it causes me to have wonderful feelings of pride in what my team and I have accomplished. And really, I just feel very lucky to have had a lot of people help me make these shoes so that we can get them out to moms like that mom, so that she can have those for her kids. But yeah, that's a great question. Thank you so much. I love talking about that.
Thank you.
So many good questions. This is great. What else? I'm ready. Bring on those questions. I'm ready for them.
Is this all your questions, Madame Legault?
Yeah, that was our last question.
Madame Coralie, you worked so hard, and the kids themselves prepared the questions, and they did the research, and they looked you up, Mr. Lee, and they were touched, as I am touched, and they responded, and they're a wonderful school. So thank you for all the kids and for the teachers.
Wonderful. Is this the end?
One more question.
Oh, okay. I was saying, because I wondered if I could say something really fast as well. Is that okay?
Please.
I remember when I was a kid and I sat in a desk like you're sitting in. I just want to encourage all of you. You know, for me, my idea for the shoes, it didn't just happen magically. You know, I really think when I was a kid, when I was your age, I was starting to learn how to be nice, how to be helpful, and how to have compassion, how to help somebody else. I was starting to learn that. And then as I got older, I just did it a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. I am not a perfect person. When I was a kid, I was not a perfect kid, but slowly and with small things, I learned how to live with compassion and how to help others. So then when I was in Kenya and I was 23 years old, I was ready to help people. I had my eyes were open and I was looking for ways that I could make a difference. And that's when I had the idea for our shoes. But again, it really started when I was a kid. And so that's why I really believe that there is power in small things. When you're nice to somebody, when you are kind, when you are compassionate, when you help someone in your family or someone at your school, that really does make a difference to them and it makes a difference to you. So I want to encourage you, you don't need to think of a big idea for shoes, that can solve a huge problem. You need to just focus on being kind and helping your school and helping at home. Those things make a big difference, and they've made a difference in my life, and I think they'll make a difference in your life too. Those small things really can make a big difference, and I just want to encourage you, even now, to get started helping people.
Mr. Lee, as we meet people like you, wonderful people like you who inspire us, the movement has grown a life of its own. And I just watch it. I just watch the kids and growing. And it's amazing what they come up with and the direction that this is taking. So, one
Wonderful.
of the goals that we're working on right now is access to clean water for indigenous communities and for all communities. And we're going to be doing a lot of fundraising, and we're releasing a book about, it's called Coast to Coast to Coast, how children came together during a pandemic to help the planet. So would you like to continue contact with us and work towards United Nations goals, sustainable development? And I'm sure that includes, we want to do everything we can to help you provide shoes and other goals for poverty and access to health. Would you be willing to continue with us?
Yes, I am on your team. Anything I can do to help, please let me know. That is so wonderful. Water is such a critical resource, obviously, and it is so sad that people around the world don't have clean water. I love what you're doing. That is such a compassionate, kind thing to do, and please count me in to help in any way that I can. Yes.
I want to advertise your organization, your foundation, becauseinternational.org. And you mentioned your other shoe that our viewers might be interested. It's the same shoe, but it's Grow 5. Is that right?
It is exactly same shoe, and we love getting those out to people who are interested in them commercially. But definitely, our heart is with kids around the world who don't have shoes, and that's the work that we're doing with Because International. And any information people need, or if they want to connect with me, you can find all of that at our website, like you mentioned, becauseinternational.org.
Thank you. Thank you so much on behalf of everyone. Pay attention, people, and let's keep working for a wonderful future. And God bless the USA.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Have a great day.
Everybody say thank you and au revoir and merci. This is bilingual French immersion. We do
Awesome.
the French language. Okay, I think they're saying goodbye. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Have a nice
Wonderful.
day.
Thank you
Keep in
so
touch.
much. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Bye, Sebastian.